Hello everyone, welcome to GGN. Today is Friday, March 29th, 2013, and I'm Darko. I'm just going to start off with this article here. Most of you have probably already seen this, besides the biggest news, which is North Korea declares they're in a state of war with the South. So, Phoenix Jihadist dad's claims son worked in Syria for CIA. Sorry, but that's kind of just like a lot of information at just that little headline. This is something that we've already covered locally. The rebels, the Sunnis, the terrorists, whatever they call themselves, they knew they had a nickname for this guy actually, and we just showed a video of this about a month or two ago that was going viral on YouTube. But there's a little bit of backstory. I'll go through what they say here, and then I'll get to my 2 points I want to make. As U.S. Army veteran Eric Haroun awaits trial in Virginia for allegedly fighting alongside al-Qaeda supporters, the man's father claims he was working for the CIA and was reporting back to the agency from Syria. So he's charged by the U.S. government for conspiring to use weapons of mass destruction, namely a rocket-propelled grenade launcher, to conduct an attack against the Syrian government. He was dubbed by the media Phoenix Jihadist. According to F.B.I. documents, he traveled to Turkey last November and joined the fight led by the Free Syrian Army shortly thereafter. Reporters said that he doesn't understand why the U.S. government arrested his son. He says he was working for the CIA. He referred to his son as patriotic American who would never get involved with al-Qaeda and claims he was gathering information for the U.S. government. I know he was there doing some work for the CIA over there. The man's father said, I know for a fact that he was passing information on to the CIA. The CIA is known to have contributed to the opposition fighters' initiatives in Syria. Last week, they described how the CIA has been helping foreign governments contribute to the Free Syrian Army. They keep calling it that, but it's really just a rebel al-Nusra al-Qaeda. That's what it is. Unnamed U.S. officials told the paper that the agency had been secretly airlifting arms and other military equipment to Arab governments, and Turkey provided them to the country's opposition fighters. Okay, amidst all of this, the 2 points that I want to make is one, it's a big deal about the weapons of mass destruction. The whole thing with, putting a picture up there saying RPG and stuff like that, that's one thing. But, like I said before, I mean, there were some little concoctions, sophisticated concoctions of chemicals that were strewn together to unleash this recent chemical attack. They thought it was WMDs in Syria and blamed it on the regime. And then it came out that was mostly civilians and actual pro-Assad government forces that were killed. So they know obviously who it was, the rebels. We also know and uncovered in the last couple months, 6 months, that the CIA has been on the ground and basically training these, quote, rebels on how to handle these weapons of mass destruction if they happen to get loose. In other words, if they steal them, and how to rig them to set them off. So who knows if he was actually over there, just recently in the last couple weeks, there was this chemical attack. So was he there, and did he get the hell out of there after that? Who knows? But I think that's the main point of this individual. Also, I've seen people say that, oh, the CIA is letting him out to dry. No, actually, the way it works is he's going to keep his cover. By him getting arrested and the FBI making a big stink about this, actually they're acting like they're fighting terrorists. Well, everybody knows that they're actually arming and funding the terrorists and training them, so that's a bunch of crap. This is just going to give him a lot of street credibility, and his cover will actually be strengthened from this. So then when the rebels and these al-Qaeda members start seeing more of these SAS, SAS and CIA agents or whatever else they got over there, maybe military, white dudes with beards, they'll be like, oh, okay, they're just like the Phoenix Jihadists, right? They're there to help us. So the link's in there. You can go out and check it. I'm sure it's all over YouTube right now. The dad of him, the father of him talking. And then remember this, NATO Proxies using weapons of mass destruction in Syria and dozens dead. So that's what I'm talking about. Let's not forget this. Mossad, Blackwater, and CIA led operations in Homs, and that was basically last year. Syrian with ties to 9/11 hijackers still in the United States, virtually immune from deportation. Why? Well, because he was probably a CIA asset, just like bin Laden, who they just recently took out in Anwar al-Awlaki, where they drone bombed him. Also, because if he goes back to Syria, he will be killed probably by the Syrian government. Underwear bomber was working for the CIA. The bomber involved in a plot to attack the U.S.-bound jet was working as an informant with Saudi intelligence and the CIA. Oh, wow. Big surprise, big shocker. So this is actually from May 8th, 2012. I don't know why I just came across this now, but it came through the news cycle. First, initially, the reports were that he was basically being handled by the FBI, but there was a lot of reports that he had a handler at the airport that let him through. That was CIA, so there you go. Terrorist plots helped along by the FBI. This is from April 29th, again, 2012. So it says here they've been saved from lethal terrorist plots in recent years, or it seemed would-be suicide bombers were intercepted on their way to the Capitol, schemed to bomb synagogues and shoot Stinger missiles at military aircraft. So it was a fanciful idea, but it was actually hatched by and facilitated by the FBI. Then you have this. It has, from March 26, 2013, cops pay convicted sex offender $100,000 to set up a terror Patsy. So again, this is the insanity of it, right? You're going to keep hearing in the news and mainstream media, mostly content and programs coming out of the Pentagon that constitutionalists, free market capitalists, are basically patriots are terrorists. So, and that's what they're gonna teach people, right? U.S. training rebels in Jordan. Get the story straight from oilprice.com. U.S. media are now reporting what everyone else has known for some time. American special forces are helping train Syrian rebels on Jordanian territory, despite the fact that radical jihadists have infiltrated the Syrian rebels and could turn on Jordan's monarchy the minute the dust settles in Syria. Said it's been going on for almost a year, and we just covered this. It's building it into this report here because I have a lot to get to today. Probably 4 or 5 videos. Israeli air operations underline Syria jitters. Interesting. It says here Israel's getting increasingly jumpy as Syrian rebels, particularly the increasingly effective Islamists, steadily throttle the beleaguered Damascus regime. Unusually heavy Air Force activity over Lebanon. That's right, remember they're violating their airspace like 7 times in one day. They've also declared kind of a de facto no-fly zone over there as well. In recent days, it's raising suspicions that Israel is preparing for airstrikes to ensure the Zionist Jewish state's security as Islamists advance into southern Syria close to the occupied zone of Golan Heights, which they stole. So again, this just plays into the whole narrative that they're being attacked, and so they're going to expand. Which is why, I've already explained about this kind of crap about Obama's anti-Netanyahu and Chuck Hagel, the new, the recently appointed Secretary of Defense. That was a big circus show for people to think that he was anti-Zionist or anti-Israel, right? But they are, right? This guy, Obama's won awards. Netanyahu just said recently, which is so great, that he's just a big supporter of Israel, and also that Obama said that he's going to actually maintain aid and actually elevate it and give him more money. Fewer Israelis see Obama as pro-Palestinian. Of course, after the last visit, fewer Israelis see Obama as pro-Palestinian since his landmark visit to Israel. This is when Obama pledged an eternal alliance with the Jewish state in the face of threat from Iran, which is completely manufactured by them. Israel faces geopolitical tangle with natural gas, so again, it's just something you don't want to lose sight of here amidst all of this crazy news that's going on. This is not by coincidence or mistake. This is to track what this whole thing in Cyprus was really about. It wasn't just about being able to carry out a litmus test to see if banks can go in there and actually raid people's savings and their deposits, their private checking accounts, their deposits. But it was between Gazprom and Russia and their natural gas industry, and competing United States, or basically Europe and Israel. But you could tell who's going to benefit, right? Israel. So it says here, recent discoveries of the massive offshore natural gas deposits set to begin flowing in coming days are turning into a mixed blessing for Israel. They're expected to provide Israel with enough natural gas for decades and transform the country, it says here, famously empty of natural resources and into an energy exporter. Yet selling this gas overseas will require Israel to navigate a geopolitical quagmire that risks angering allies and enemies alike. A fellow at the Washington Institute for Near East Policy says instead of being an ingredient which serves to calm the tensions of the Eastern Mediterranean, the discoveries these natural gas ones provide instead another impetus for rivalry. Syrian conflict, the price of defying the West. Haaretz piece reveals Syrian conflict is direct punitive result of Assad defying the West, obstructing U.S.-Israeli attack on Iran. They recently published an exceptionally revealing article confirming that the Brookings Institute's Which Path to Persia report, a plan for undermining and the destruction of Iran, had indeed been set in motion, and that the current Syrian conflict is a direct result of Syria and Iran defying the West and disrupting what was to be a coup de grace delivered to Tehran. The article is titled Assad's Israeli Friend appears at the first to be a ham-handed attempt to portray President Assad as somehow allied with Israel's prime minister. Instead, it actually reveals that Israel had attempted to execute verbatim the strategies prescribed in the Brookings Institute report, where Israel was to lure Syria away from Iran ahead of a U.S.-Israeli strike and subsequent war with Tehran. It says Syria obviously did not fall into the trap, and as a result has been plunged into a destructive, spiteful war of proxy aggression by the U.S., Israel, Saudi Arabia, and other regional allies, which include, of course, Qatar. Qatar, natural gas. Where do you think the pipeline is going to be running between Israel and Turkey and all them places? Is what? It's going to be going through Syria. So this is why Qatar wants to have their little interests competing against now Russia and now Israel's pipelines, and that they want to be in on the game. So that's why they want to saw it out. Besides the fact that they want a Sunni hardliner in an Islamic State with Sharia law. Iran slams Qatar for allowing Syria opposition to open embassy. So this is crazy. This is just after recently Syrian opposition joins meeting of Arab League. They actually gave the Arab League, which is again, it's just a puppet proxy Western Zionist group, right? That appears to be like they're actually for Arabs. An Iranian deputy foreign minister has criticized the Qatari government for allowing the Syrian opposition to open an embassy in Doha. Says the intelligent and resistant people of Syria will never allow others to decide the future of this country, said this African Affairs minister. Russia to confront Syria opposition at the United Nations. So the Russian ambassador to the UN says the country will strongly oppose any attempt to give Syria's UN seat to opposition forces. So my question is, what do the Russians know? Is Damascus getting ready to fall here? We will open it very strongly, but I don't think it's going to happen. Officials say recent arms influx preparing rebels to attack Damascus, increase in arms smuggling pretends push on capital. It was revealed that the CIA is overseeing what is called a sharp increase in weapons being smuggled to the Syrian terrorists from abroad. Officials are not only confirming this, but say that it's part of a specific policy to set up an attack on the capital. So we have this, University of Damascus hit by mortars. Mortar fires hit the University of Damascus, killing 15 students. So officials blame the rebels for the attack. Turkey backs off deportation, but Syrian refugees remain a strain. The Turkish government insists 130 refugees voluntarily return to Syria. It says here, dealing with the camp loads of refugees is quite a burden, but it says more so as they accuse a large number of refugees of being involved in provocations and violent protests. So they've been accused of forcibly repatriating 130 refugees over such protests, although the government denies this. I hope you remember this article. Syria rejects Jordan border crossing seizure by militants. Syria has rejected reports that the country's main border crossing to Jordan has come under the control of militants and that it was closed. They said it's under full control of the Syrian government forces. So again, there's going to be a lot of disinfo about what's actually happening, how weak they are, defectors, as they try to put the pressure for Assad to step down. Syrian soldiers abandon post in town near Israel border. Fighting reportedly escalates between Golan and Damascus. 170 Syrian soldiers have reportedly abandoned their post, another key town in the border of the Israeli-occupied Golan, in the face of an offensive by the rebels. Yeah, the rebels, that's what they were on the area where they kidnapped the UN workers. It's also another strategy to draw Lebanon into the quote crisis. 3 Egyptian divers tried to hack through internet ocean floor cables, an attack that could have taken an entire continent offline. So this doesn't sound like just three Joe Schmoes. You know what I mean? They're coming from somewhere, some kind of clandestine service. 3 men arrested by the Egyptian army for cutting undersea cable. If the bid was successful, it could have taken an entire continent offline. So this is a big risk. So there's obviously going to be no ties back to whoever are funding this operation, but and what it was actually aimed at. But here's a picture of these guys, and here's the area and the countries that it would have affected. Terrorized by drones, Afghan civilians are increasingly fleeing their homes. The drone strikes might continue beyond 2014 and the withdrawal date. Fleeing in fear to escape relentless airstrikes from U.S. drones, they said they're feeding widespread anti-American sentiment. Thank you.